remember to write out the whole name of the show.
Yeah.
Don't forget to do
Culture Clash. I called it Culture Clash 192, the MCU Magic 8 Ball.
Nice. Very cool. All right. What's up, YouTubes? Woo woo.
What's up, YouTube?
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Let me just do a little share out here.
Get the pop out chat going here too. All right. Get that going. Can you hear the rain behind me at all? Do you hear it?
A little bit. I'm surprised you can't hear the kittens pounding on the door. The Wonder Kittens are in full effect tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
They want to know where their daddy is. That's funny.
We want on the podcast. No, you want to get all the cords that are in this room.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. All right, hold on. What's this here? All right. Do a little social media. Say hi to some peeps here. There we go. Oh, there we go. Turn down the phone. All right. YouTubies. All right, let's share this out.
Okay, we got a little share out action going. Got some people getting ready to pop into the chat.
You got some chatty chats?
I see at least 3 people watching, so we know there's a little short notice on the CC, but you know.
Gotcha.
That's why we put the post out to get some social media interaction at least.
Oh, hold on. Where is it? Oh, why didn't that go? Okay. Do a little share.
And yes, for those of you who are maybe listening or watching right now, this is me as about as low key as I can get because I'm still jazzing on Godzilla vs. Kong trailer. Which
did you say about. As low key as you can get?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Low key.
The Tesseract is around here somewhere. I heard that buzz.
You know how you can tell when your phone's getting older is that the vibration it starts to shake the phone a little bit more.
There's some people who don't mind that, apparently.
All right.
Are we ready, sir?
Yeah, we're running a little late here, but yeah.
Okay,
hey, look, it's Jen. Jen's there. What's up? About freaking time. I've been here for 2 minutes yelling at you both.
Well, you know. After editing, getting ready to edit the Showgirls podcast, I just learned how to tune you out, Jen.
Oh, you don't want to give her ammo, dude. You don't want to do that.
I have cheap scoreboard all the time, so. But you know what? We got a lot of things to talk about. We're live. We're ready. So you know what? I'm just gonna get right into it and just say, let's do this thing.
This is the Culture Clash.
And welcome everybody to Culture Clash 192 as we bring back a segment we haven't done in a while, and I'm looking forward to talking about that. But Kevin, before we get started, a little shout out to Brian Kinney out there watching. Appreciate that,
What's up, Brian? What's up, Jen?
You know you were this close to doing the podcast, not with Kyle tonight.
By myself, solo.
Nah, it was going to be worse than that. We're about this. We're about this close to Moondoggy time already.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, tax season definitely creeping up on. I went right ahead and had my taxes done, so I got my W-2 and they're being processed.
Yeah, well, you can't even file to the 12th. I don't want to talk word because we got fun things to talk about tonight on the Culture Clash. But before we get started, I guess we need to conduct a little business with Kevin and his wombat. Kevin,
hey, Jennifer wanted to know where Kevin Ramageddon is. That's who this is.
Did we have? Nobody told me we had an official name for the wombat. When did this happen?
It's Ramageddon, yes. Jen named it. She had naming rights, so.
I don't know Romanoff. I don't know, but anyway, Kevin, can you tell people where they can find us?
Of course, yeah. So first of all, if you're watching us, you just found us on YouTube. If you're listening to us, head on over to the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel and please subscribe so you get little ringy bells and ding-a-dings that we're going live. And we also have some exclusive programming as well, like the Fandom Show and among others. So make sure you check that out. If you want to listen to our audio podcast, our master feeder, fpnet.podbean.com, including on that Podbean app. The Fandom Podcast Network is on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts and iTunes. Make sure you check those out. You can find us on Facebook under Fandom Podcast Network and can email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram and Twitter, Fandom Podcast Network. My name is Kevin. I am on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_Phoenix.
I can't tell from here. You need a zoom. You need some zoom action on that camera.
Or you need a better camera, Kyle.
Well, that's your equipment, not mine. So your studio. That's West Coast.
It's John Spartan and Simon Phoenix from Demolition Man right next to the cool red car that John Spartan drove. So there you go. That's an audio help there for you guys just listening, but I got some demolition figures behind me. So there you go. Kyle, where can we find you?
You can find me, if you can find me, because I don't know if I get out in reality much anymore, but if you do find me, you can find me on Twitter at AKyleW or on Instagram, AKyleFandom.
Very cool, very cool. So anyway, and real quick, by the way, there's a couple ways you can support the Fandom Podcast Network. As I mentioned, please hit us up on YouTube, subscribe. TeePublic, we have a Fandom Podcast Network store there. Just search Fandom Podcast Network and get your favorite show logos put on cool apparel. And also reviews. Head on over to Apple Podcast, iTunes, or wherever podcast platforms you are. If you're able to leave a review, we would love it. Search Fandom Podcast Network and leave a review under that. And we love 5-star reviews, of course, but we love feedback in general. Back to you, Kyle.
Yeah, and I want to apologize if there's either massive knocking at the door or because the office behind me is a little bit messy in the studio. Kind of a little renovations going on here, very unexpected. But also, as much as I love them, the Wonder Kitten's not good in a room full of cords, and they want to help Dad, but just not with this. But they're not exactly happy they're not in the room, and they're kind of pounding at the door a little bit.
I was kind of hoping to see their little paws sticking out behind from your camera, but I haven't seen that yet.
Oh no, they will climb up the back of the chair if I'm not if they're in here. But yeah, no, one of them almost hung himself today, so I'm kind of keeping them away from.
Yeah. They like to get into stuff. You gotta be careful about that.
so we got some exciting things going on around here at the Fandom Podcast Network, including a new podcast alert.
Yeah.
Funny story behind this, but yes, we have a new podcast here on the Fandom Podcast Network, True Believers, an MCU podcast. Might have inspired something we're doing later in this episode too, but we felt with the arrival of WandaVision, it was time. We've been a year without the MCU, Kevin, and you decided we needed to throw this together.
Yeah,
real quickly, might I add.
It literally happened a couple of days after I watched that first two episodes of WandaVision, and realizing that there is a big podcasting hole in our heart that we have not filled, and that is talking about exclusively the MCU, the live action Marvel universe there. And I know this is something that is near and dear to your heart. So we, put the first episode together, and then we did the second episode and had Dan Hadley on this last week. And we're going to have a two special guests coming on this week. We're going to tease. So we're excited about that. But this is basically talking about all of the Marvel MCU throughout the movies and TV series now, and how they relate back to the comics, which is where you come in. So this is going to be fun.
Well, yeah, and unfortunately we don't do that show live, but if you could look at the faces of fear, Kevin, it displays when I start diving deep into my Marvel encyclopedia knowledge.
Yeah, I know, right? By the way,
what?
Brian Kinney wants more kittens. He wants to see more kittens. So you might have to have him bring them on live sometime. That'll be a mess.
Yeah. Maybe one of them, because both of them know that's definitely asking for trouble. His name is Tummy, not Trouble, but there are days when you don't know the difference.
Yes. So anyway, True Believers podcast. Stay tuned to the Fandom Podcast Network. It's going to be a lot of fun talking about WandaVision, and of course, we're going to get into everything else as well down the line.
Yeah. And Kevin, little thing here with Culture Clash, we haven't done it in a while, but you dug into the old artifact box, didn't you?
Yes, we've got the Magic 8 Ball.
Now wait, Kevin. Do you need to explain why our Magic 8 Ball is just so weird and bizarre?
Yeah, it's really, really weird. It likes categories, and it asks you your top 8 favorite something topic, and it had to be dusted off again because it heard us talking about the MCU. So therefore, later in the episode, we're going to be discussing our favorite top 8 MCU characters throughout the movies and television series. And even more fun, I did a post on Facebook and got a lot of great responses from a bunch of you, and we're going to be reading those as well.
Okay, so I have one other question for you, Kevin, because you put this in the notes. You're going to tease a podcast? What are you talking about here?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to give a little sneak peek to what's coming. That's what I'm talking about. First of all, a few days ago, we recorded the Showgirls podcast with Jennifer and my lovely fiance, Erin Gill. And so that's going to be coming out next week sometime. But we must tell you, warning, adult content and language was used during the recording of that podcast. So warning.
Kevin, as long as you left out discussion of any particular xenomorph objects that have been floating around your Facebook page lately, I'm good.
I cannot confirm nor deny that. Coming this weekend, we're going to be recording another Couch Potato Theater with The Last Starfighter. There's mine, signed by the actor himself, Lance Guest. And we're going to have Lacey Adderhold on, and our real co-host, Alex Autry, and yourself on discussing that. And coming around February 14th, we're going to be dropping Cobra.
Wait, now, Kevin, I need to ask you about this. We haven't made a decision on this yet.
Yeah.
Do we want to do this live on Valentine's Day?
Maybe not.
That's what I thought.
I also just want to mention real quick, Highlander Blood of Kings. We're going to be celebrating the original Highlander, which came out in 1986, and it's celebrating its 35th anniversary. Make sure you pay attention to Blood of Kings. We're going to be celebrating it. Lee and I are going to be looking back on this film, kind of doing a little couch potato-y stuff with it, but on Blood of Kings, and we're going to be releasing some other celebratory podcasts. So there you go. I was going to tease one more thing, Kyle. One more thing. And
okay. Apparently Kevin pays for advertising around here.
But by the way, Brian wants more Erin. Brian, do you think she's good? I think she's good. I think she's good on the podcast. So yeah.
Trust me, ladies. Trust me, Brian. Kevin wants more Erin.
This is a true story. Yes. We're going to be doing a podcast. We've done a podcast like this before. But Kyle, I want to tease with a couple of visuals and see if you can figure out what these movies have in common. Okay.
Okay.
First, I hold up a VHS copy of Condor Man.
Okay. First of all, that's freaking awesome. I'm just saying.
Don't guess yet. Let me go.
Mhm.
Let me go through my thing here. Okay. Have you heard of this film, The Heartbeeps, with Andy Kaufman and Bernadette Peters, about two servant robots that fall in love with each other?
I have heard of it, but I have never seen it.
Okay. Miss 45, a horror film about a deaf mute woman who takes revenge on men.
Would this be an Aaron Gill pick?
Actually, that was mine.
Oh,
Coming at
I'm
you.
worried about you now.
Originally released in 3D. Okay.
Okay.
The Sylvester Stallone underrated flick called Victory, starring Michael Caine and Max von Sydow and Pele.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you leave out Pele, we're gonna have an issue.
Burt Reynolds in Sharky's Machine.
Oh, a classic Burt Reynolds film.
Actually, I've never seen it. Getting ready to watch it. Time Bandits.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Never a big fan of Time Bandits.
I got two more for you. Escape from New York.
Mm-hmm.
And one more. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Kyle, what do all of these have in common? Hold on, before you say it, anyone in the chat? What do all these movies have in common? Anybody?
I was just going to say they all came out the same year that amazing fantasy movie Krull came out.
You sure?
No, wait, that's right.
Are you sure?
I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Yep, I read another article. Yeah, I know. I think we're going back through the time warp again, Kevin.
We are going back to the time warp again. Yes, we're going to be celebrating the movies of 1981 on Time Warp. We're excited about that. We're also going to be doing a special horror movie episode because a lot of horror movies came out in 1981 with my lovely fiance, Aaron Gill, who is the expert on that genre. So we're excited about that. But there's a lot of movies I don't remember, had never seen, and doing the research on it, I'm looking forward to talking about it. So there you go.
So you mentioned Condor Man. Can I just say there's one thing that I specifically remember about Condor Man?
Condor Man, right here, VHS.
Yeah.
Got it right.
Love that movie. Love the car in that movie and the boat.
Yeah.
I remember the big Baskin Robbins tie-in that summer for Condor Man when they released Condor Man Crunch ice cream.
God, I have no memory of that. That is so funny. I want to say, I think I saw this in the theater.
Oh, I remember seeing it.
But I know I saw it on multiple viewing on TV later on. So.
And the fact that Disney does not have that on Disney Plus is just a crime.
This is true. They released an exclusive DVD that I think came out in the 90s or something like that. And it is out of print and it's not cheap. You can buy out of region DVDs, stuff like that. But the original, one that they released here in the States, hard to come by. So anyway, there you go. 1991, the movie is coming out soon.
Yeah. On that note, Kevin, I think it's time to get to work here. So
let's news.
Let's news.
So, first of all, Kevin, I have to ask: have you bought any GameStop stock or AMC stock in the last couple of days?
GameStop stock or AMC stock?
stock?
No, I have not.
And I say I don't have to worry about you. Then we're fine. Kevin, as we talk about this, I didn't even want to make it a news story, but the movie shuffle game has been playing again big time. Quiet Place 2 had got moved again. A couple other movies.
To when? When?
Like fall.
Oh, jeez.
Morbius got pushed back again, this time closer to Halloween, which actually makes sense. A few other things have been pushed back. The rumor is Black Widow might get pushed back again. I'm hoping not, but
they can't. They can't, because if they push back, I just saw something on YouTube about this. There's a report that if they push back, because right now it's what, March they're looking at doing
May.
They have to put it on. They have to put it on Disney Plus and whatever theaters are open, because I don't expect a lot of theaters to be open, but they have to, because if they don't, they delay the entire MC universe because of how everything ties together when each movie is released. And they just can't do that. This is ridiculous. Put it on Disney Plus. Just stop. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, one of the big movies that finally is going to be coming out in theaters and streaming, and it has been already moved around. It was supposed to, when it was announced, March 23rd. Now it's been pushed back to March 31st, but released a trailer, Kevin. And oh, what a trailer it was. This is a movie I have been excited about since last summer. Godzilla versus Kong. Bring it. I am ready for the throwdown. It even looks like Kong might get his own version of Stormbreaker in this movie, Kevin.
Yeah, what's that thing that he, did a little slap down on Godzilla, man?
Yeah, that's the thing. But you got Millie Bobby Brown is coming back. She was in the second film. I'm excited about that. The visuals look absolutely stunning. And come on, who's not ready for some kaiju throwdown?
This is true. They're kind of painting Godzilla as a villain in this, and Kong as, we need Kong as the hero. And then there's a little girl that has a little moment or has a relationship, with Kong, and that looks really cute. So we'll see. It's a lot of buildings are going to get effed up.
Well, and they are trying to paint Godzilla as the bad guy in this. But if you watch the trailer, there's a couple of people who say there's something manipulating him. He's not acting right.
Kong?
And no, Godzilla.
Godzilla. Okay, gotcha.
So, but come on, Kevin. Probably at the end they're both going to be hero monsters. But it's
has
classic.
There been any rumors of them dropping any other kaiju type monsters? Because I thought there was a rumor about something else being.
There is a rumor of Mecha Godzilla.
Okay, that's right. That's what I remember hearing. Okay, that'll be cool.
Of course, I'm all in on the fact that Guillermo del Toro wants to find a way to incorporate Pacific Rim into this universe.
Interesting. Mecha Godzilla, man. I hope Sorrento is not driving it.
Yeah, you and me both. This would be a bad flashback, but I'm excited. I will find a way March 31st to be watching this film.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Now, Kevin, this next piece of news makes me think of our good fellow co-founder in the Fandom Podcast Network, of course, who has gone on to do Zocalo Cast, which is very centric to this particular show, and that is Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Kind of caught everybody by surprise, but a digital remaster of Babylon 5 has been done out of nowhere and is currently available to buy on iTunes or stream on HBO Max.
iTunes, if I remember correctly, was about $60, I think it was.
For the whole season, home run, yeah. I brought this to Mr. Lau's attention because I don't think he knew about it initially, but he has actually been speaking high praise after watching a couple of episodes of this and saying it is actually, considering the source material they had to work with, it is a very well done remaster, Kevin. Now, I know Norman's a huge fan of the show. I know you were a fan of this show as well.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get back into a rewatch with it. I've watched it all the way through at least twice. So I'm not as familiar with it as I am like other stuff like Star Trek and stuff like that, but it's a fun show. It's very cool, great character development in it. And I think this is great. I was actually looking at even though I have HBO Max, and I turned on an episode to watch it. It looked cool. It looked good. I like it. I'm not an expert on all the details with it, but this begged the question of whether or not they were going to re-release it possibly on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I gotta be honest with you, Kevin. After my last couple of trips to a Best Buy, physical media is getting few and far between.
Yeah, I was at a Best Buy just the other day, and they threw in a couple of new movies, but a lot of the stuff's just like, it's looking sad.
Yeah,
but anyway, as for Babylon 5, I hope something happens with it. This would be cool, and maybe this is a way to help other cool series that have not gotten a proper fix or digital or video release or what have you. So we'll see.
Yeah. Now, another sad piece of Babylon 5 news, though. Mira Furlan has passed away.
Yep. She played Delenn, right?
Delenn, yes. She had been in she was also on Lost, and I had forgotten she was on Lost, but
that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Also, too, I would be remiss if we didn't mention that acting legend Cloris Leachman passed away yesterday.
Yeah,
94 years old. 94 years old, but in so many things.
I saw, Mel Brooks put a wonderful tweet or post out there regarding that as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. But, Kevin, you know how much I love animated things.
You do
I'm
like
a big
animated
fan
things, yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Netflix has been doing a great job of bringing over anime and doing some of their own original anime series. Well, they just announced 2 that they are working on, and maybe even out before at least one of them might be out before the end of the year. They are doing a Kong Skull Island anime series, and they are going to do a Tomb Raider anime series. I am very intrigued by both of these. They have my attention.
I can't say I'm excited. I'm not really much into animated stuff as I used to be. So I'm more of the live action type guy, you know. I'm still waiting for that live action Akira. I'd like to see that. But I think this is good though, because I know there is an audience for it. And so I think this is and it's less produced as well, which is always good. And I think this is a great way to fill out the backstory and a little bit more on some of these popular series and movies.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Skull Island. I think that can be done really well. Tomb Raider, I'm not so sure about. But another network's also looking into getting into the animation side. HBO is in talks and exploratory things for a Game of Thrones animation series.
Any idea on when that might take place in the Thrones world timeline?
It sounds like everything is very preliminary on that. I think they're
because I know the prequel was going to go back like several hundred years or something.
It's going to deal with the Targaryen family, and if you haven't heard, you Doctor Who fans, especially out there, will be excited. Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor, has been cast as one of the main characters for that new show.
Oh, very cool, nice.
So very excited about that, but that's going to wrap up the news things. You have any last minute things you need to throw in there, Kevin?
Actually, Jennifer just mentioned. Oh, this is sad. Cecily Tyson passed away today too.
That just happened like within the last hour and a half.
Wow, gosh, ugh. Feels like it's one of those that happens in 3 things, you know?
Yeah. What's the third one? Waiting for that other shoe to drop.
Well, that would be the third one, right? With Mia Furlan and Cloris Leachman, but still,
yeah, true.
Sad.
So Hollywood legends passing along, but
yep.
Kevin, we have seen a few things, so it's time to do a little buy it, stream it, or unsee it. And your dad is doing a marathon of a certain show that we both love.
Okay, so if you know my dad, he loves watching his programs, you know. He's used to basic cable, so he watches a lot of TNT and AMC and PBS. There's shows on PBS that he likes. But when we got internet installed and we got the extended pay channels installed as well, he hadn't really been taking advantage of it. And so he was a huge Sopranos fan, but he only watched it on AMC, which severely edited a lot of the stuff on there, you know. And so I showed him how to use the smart remote. He watched that entire series as you normally should watch it. Then he watched what was it, Boardwalk Empire. He loved that. He went all the way through Deadwood, watched that, and he had heard about this Game of Thrones. I said, Dad, you can watch Game of Thrones. It's right there, you know. And he started watching Game of Thrones, and he's digging it. He's about 3 episodes in right now. So
okay, there you go.
That's a big deal for my dad. I just want to say, you know, I would throw out I know he'd love Justified, but it's not on demand right now anywhere. At least not through our cable system too. I have it on Apple, but or iTunes, but I'm not going to have him mess with iTunes right now. It's just enough that I got him to figure out how to use the cable channel. So there we go.
So I have a question for you, Kevin, real quick. Have you had a hard time finding new things to watch?
Not really, because I've been kind of catching up on movies that I've been needed to, and then I kind of found something by mistake, and that is coming up soon. But every now and then it kind of feels like, you know, give me something new, you know, but there's so much you don't know what to choose from.
Yeah. I've been kind of having that problem a little bit. I've been watching The Expanse. I've been watching a couple other things, but one show I got hooked on while we were in COVID, as I was kind of looking back over the summer, was Prodigal Son with Michael Sheen and Tom Payne from The Walking Dead.
This is the one where he's the serial killer father that's in custody and
Yeah.
he's helping solve murders, right?
And of course, also the Orville's Halston Sage plays Tom Payne's sister in this series.
Oh, okay. I forgot she was in that. Okay, cool. Yeah, from
So
Lego.
and
Yeah.
Lou Diamond Phillips is also in this series.
Oh, how is he, by the way?
He's very good in this series.
Good.
So season 2 kicked back, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because if you saw the cliffhanger to season 1, you were left in a state of shock. And how they've handled this cliffhanger is so intriguing. And these first 3 episodes, Michael Sheen has just turned it up again another level. He is so phenomenal in his show. And Tom Payne, who played Jesus on The Walking Dead, the chemistry between the two of them is just phenomenal, and it's so intelligently written with the dialogue. You got to check this show out if you're looking for something in like a little bit of a crime procedural, but something a little different. You got to check out Prodigal Son. It's on Fox. You can watch it on Hulu.
Question for you. By the way, Jennifer put in there, said Queen's Gambit on Netflix. That's actually been on my radar. I watched the first episode. I want to get back to watching it. Question on Prodigal Son. How do they get around a serial killer that should be locked up helping out and not being able to go to locations? How does that work?
His son worked for the FBI as kind of a specialist, and he was too eccentric. So now he had a relationship with Lou Diamond Phillips' character, and he brought him into his special New York task force that he has. His father's in an institution.
Okay.
So he consults his father by telling him what he's seen on the case.
So he has to come to his father with information. Okay. All right.
So it's very interesting, it's very intriguing, and it's got some great play to it. But Kevin, the other thing I know I want to talk about, but unfortunately I'll be honest, I fell asleep last night. I was exhausted from work. I didn't get to watch it. I've heard from my roommate it's good, and I know you watched it. And that's the new Alan Tudyk show on the Sci-Fi Channel. Now, this isn't a very important show for Sci-Fi because they've been struggling a lot lately. And a lot of people feel like this is the show that's either going to make or break the Sci-Fi Channel as we know it.
Yeah, sci-fi original programming has been waning as of late. And, I think they're trying to prevent it from becoming an MTV type show with, reality shows. They want to actually have original programming to highlight.
Yeah, so I'm a big Alan Tudyk fan. They've been kind of playing this up on the comedy side, but from what I gather, it's actually a pretty solid show in there too.
No, it is. It's really good. I was pleasantly surprised by it. He's without giving away too much, it's about an alien who travels to Earth for nefarious reasons. He's supposed to do something and then leave. You find out in the first episode. But his ship gets damaged and he gets stranded on Earth in a small Colorado town that's apparently hard to get to and it's isolated, very small. And he takes the shape of a human, but he looks alien, of course, if he doesn't. And he's able to morph into a particular human that looks like Alan Tudyk. And he is called upon by the local authorities because the person that he took the identity of was a doctor. And he is called in to solve a murder of the town doctor, which is why they called him in, because he's a doctor and they need someone obviously smart enough to figure it out. But there's an interesting little twist in there that's kind of fun. People can't see through his morphing ability except for one person. And there's a very comedic side to that part of the subplot. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah. In the chat, just want to shout out to Jennifer. She mentioned the show NBC has been advertising Debris, which looks very interesting as well. I'm not quite sure what they're aiming for with that, but I'm intrigued. I'm definitely going to try to check that out.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Now,
Jennifer
Kevin,
said they liked Resident Alien, by the way.
Yeah. Kevin, you got a couple up on here. One haven't really heard about, but the other one I know has been on my radar for a while, and I just haven't had a chance to get to it. And I think you just put it on there so you could actually say the word on the podcast.
Real quick, Brian came. He's like, South Park? He's like, no, they didn't land in South Park, but that would have been entertaining. I found this one by mistake, to be honest with you, on, I think it was Netflix. Or was it Amazon? I can't remember. Called Flack. Flack. And it caught my attention because it stars True Blood star and Oscar winner Anna Paquin, about an American publicist working for a cutthroat London PR company that represents troubled celebrities, is adept at keeping her clients' lives appearing to be in perfect order while her own falls to pieces, as IMDb would say. I would say that it's like a Ray Donovan, sort of speak, but without mob ties, where she knows how to work behind the scenes and take care of celebrities and stop them from their, it's interesting to see a different side of PR as opposed to, oh, you're going to be doing this interview. You're going to be doing that interview. There's a lot of dirty stuff that happens behind the scene here. It's great. And it's shot entirely in London, which is very cool. A great cast as well that helps her. And but she has an issue, she's got her own personal issues and demons that are kind of getting in the way and affecting her work a little bit. And it was an easy watch. I just watched the first season. There's a second season as well, because there are only 6 episodes or 8 episodes at only a half-hour piece. So it was easy watch. And actually, I think it was just 6 episodes. And I ended up marathoning the whole thing, and I rather enjoyed it. It was really good.
Very cool. And then you've watched one that's been getting a ton of hype. It's one I've been wanting to watch and check out myself. Considered one of the better comedies out there right now, Kevin. And I'm just going to let you say it because I know you want to say it.
Don't you want to say it?
No, I'm going to leave that for you.
Yes. Well, actually, it was my fiance, Erin, who ended up watching the entire series. It just recently wrapped up. It won a ton of awards and Emmys, I believe, as well as some other ones. And that's, of course, Schitt's Creek, which is garnered a lot of attention. And she said that I would really like it. It's entertaining. The characters are very endearing and charming, and you get to know them. It's interesting, and it's basically about a rich family. It's the head of which Eugene Levy plays the father, Johnny Rose, and his family are suddenly find themselves broke, and they're forced to leave their pampered lifestyle and regroup in Schitt's Creek, which is a city that he actually purchased on a joke. And they're forced to live in a small little motel, and they start learning about the city and the eclectic characters around them. And I'm about 7 episodes in, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Highly recommend it.
Very cool. I've heard too many people talking high about it, so it is definitely on my watch
Jennifer
list.
loves David Rose, which is the son, and he's very, very funny.
Well, we're going to take a quick little break here and tell you what else is going on around the Fandom Podcast Network. And when we come back, we're going to be dealing with a very temperamental artifact from the basement of the Fandom Podcast Network studios. So you've been forewarned, everybody. Kevin and I will be right back after this.
Thank you for listening. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. We like to continue to feed your ears by inviting you to listen to the Fandom Podcast Network and all of the other awesome shows we have to offer. It starts with our flagship show, Culture Clash, our weekly pop culture news podcast. Bloody Kings, our Highlander podcast. Couch Potato Theater, our podcast celebrating our favorite movies. Time Warp, the Fandom Flashback podcast discussing a year in movies and our favorite pop culture topics. End Zone, the NFL podcast. Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast. Union Federation, our Star Trek and Orville podcast. Hair Metal, the 80s and early 90s rock metal podcast. Type 40, our Doctor Who podcast. Lethal Mullet, a 1980s and 90s action film podcast. What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast. And our newest show, Making Treks, a new Star Trek podcast with a deep dive into the final frontier with host Mark Newbold and Adam P. O'Brien. You can enjoy all of these great Fandom Podcast Network shows on our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. Fandom Podcast Network is also on Apple Podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. You can also find us on Facebook under Fandom Podcast Network. You can also email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter under Fandom Podcast Network. Thank you for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom.
And we're back. And Kevin, you still haven't taken that thing off the blister pack?
I have not. I'm torn. I have not decided to unearth the damaged RoboCop blister pack toy. I like Jen's idea, though. She says, buy one elsewhere that's loose, but, put this in a container because it has a cool story. It survived the fire. So there you go. And no, I'm not drinking vodka. It's water.
Do we believe him? We'll leave that to the chat. There might be a poll sometime on social media. Anyway, Kevin, you braved the basement. We haven't been down there in a while.
It's true. Yeah.
I'm a little worried about our kaiju down there because he's being a little quiet. Was he sleeping good still, or is he even there? Because I just
had to give him some cheese balls. He was fine.
Okay, well, and plenty of orange soda because I know Morris got him hooked on that.
Yeah. It's a little sticky down there, but it's fine. Anyway, but we got we got the Magic 8 Ball, man. The Magic 8 Ball is back. Magic 8 Ball's back. Do you have a question you want to ask it, by the way?
No, I was actually more concerned it was if we did keep it far enough away from the Ark of the Covenant.
I might have bumped up against it, but did you want to ask an 8 Ball question? You want to ask an 8 Ball question?
What is my future co-hosting the Culture Clash?
Really? That's what you want to ask? It says, without a doubt. That's what it says.
Oh, well, there we go. So.
But no, this one has magical properties. It asks us to give us our top 8 of a particular category.
It doesn't ask us. It demands us.
It does. You're right. It does demand. Yeah. And then we got a fun topic today. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, we are talking about our top favorite characters of the MCU. I gotta just shout out to Jen. Is this basement kind of like the Warehouse 13? Yes, very much so.
Brian Kinney wants more cheese balls.
If you can stomach the cheese balls because they come from that very special cheesy place.
He also says the RoboCop prototype killed a relative of mine.
Okay, then.
I've never seen Warehouse 13, by the way.
That's actually an awesome show. And
is that the one with Saul Rubinek?
Yeah, and Eddie McClintock and
okay,
Jamie Murray
I've heard about it. Yeah.
It's a very fun show. Alice, I can't think of her name. I love her. I got a bit of a crush on her, but she's in that. Allison, I want to say. I can't think of her last name off the top of my head, and I know Jamie Murray was in several seasons of it as well. So.
Wasn't that a sci-fi show?
Oh yeah, that was kind of around that time when Eureka was really popular and things like that. Big fan of Eureka just because Joe Morton.
Okay, gotcha.
He was in that. So, but we're here to talk a little MCU. We're inspired by WandaVision. The 8 Ball got a little startled and worked up because Elizabeth Olsen's looking awful cute on WandaVision, so I'm just saying. So it decided to ask us. It wants Kevin and I and the listeners out there to tell us their top 8 characters from the MCU.
And this is the live action Marvel Cinematic Universe throughout the movies and TV series, including those ones on Netflix. So yeah.
So Kevin, let's hit up a few honorable mentions for each of us.
Hold on. I thought it might be. Let's switch this up a little bit. I thought it might be kind of fun to throw out some of the wonderful comments by our fans on Facebook first, and then we can kind of then get into ours a little at the end of the show. What do you think?
Okay, go for it. You've got them in front of you.
Yeah, I got it in front of me. So I put a post, obviously, Culture Clash. We're top favorite Marvel MCU characters, and we wanted to get everyone's opinion on this. We got a lot of great comments. My buddy William J says, I hope you aren't expecting these in order. He said Wasp, Ant-Man, Thor, Black Widow, Tony Stark, Spider-Man, Phil Coulson, and Captain America. Dan Hanley or Brian Hanley says, "Does this include X-Men or strictly MCU?" And I said MCU. So then he said, "Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Happy Hogan. Gotta love Johnny Faves. Love it. Daredevil, Kingpin, Luke Cage, and Captain America." And for a deep cut, I'm going off the board for this one, this character, but we have not seen it yet. Hopefully one day we will. Beta Ray Bill.
Oh yes, if we have actually seen a face for Beta Ray Bill. He was a character who welded Mjolnir at one point. Alien, kind of an alien, but they always call him Horseface because he's got this weird looking face. But his face was actually in Thor Ragnarok. If you remember, one of the buildings had a bunch of faces on it of different warriors.
Right.
And his was one of the faces on
Oh, very cool. Okay, gotcha. My buddy Charles Piner there in Georgia, the 501st, he said War Machine, Captain Marvel, Jessica Jones, the Punisher, Rocket, Falcon, the FedEx Stan Lee. Is there a Tony Stank here?
Yeah.
And he said Hella. I like that. Hella. That's good. My buddy Charles Lund, otherwise known as Lunch. It's his nickname. He liked Captain America, Iron Man, Thanos, Thor, T'Challa, Drax, Loki, and Spider-Man in no particular order. Our co-host of the What a Piece of Junk Star Wars podcast here on the Fandom Podcast Network, Derek Marsh, said number 8, Vision, 7, Thor, 6, Nick Fury, 5, Doctor Strange, 4, Wasp, 3, Ghost, which I thought was cool, 2, Thanos, and 1, Captain America. My buddy John Givitz, I love this. Number 1, Luis from Ant-Man.
He almost made my list, but I knew you were gonna like lay claim to Luis immediately.
And he put a great link on YouTube to the 2 Luis storytelling scenes, and I forgot how funny the Ant-Man and Wasp one was when he has the truth serum.
I'm sorry, we still need the Infinity Saga as told by Luis.
Yes, we do. But he said the rest in no particular order: Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, Captain America, Thor, Loki, Ant-Man, and Hela. So Jennifer also commented on that, said, I love Luis. I love Michael Pena in general. He made Chips. He was funny in Chips. That's right. My buddy Joseph, he said Rocket, Nick Fury, Hulk, a.k.a. the Edward Norton version, Stan Lee cameos, Thor, Howard Stark. Without him, there's no Tony Stark. Good call out there. I like that. Can I say Deadpool next movie with the MCU?
Not yet. Hasn't happened yet. Sorry,
but I allowed him to do it. So yeah.
Wait.
That's why I'm wearing my Deadpool hat.
Yeah, no, he hasn't officially been in the MCU yet. So I'm going to protest.
Whatever. Jennifer says, I agree with Joseph Biggs Howard, Deadpool, and I don't care that he's technically not MCU. And then she said Cap, Phil, Black Widow, Darcy, nice call out, love Darcy, Groot, T'Challa, and Shuri. My buddy, let me see here. My friend Lisa Van Dillen said Loki, Jane Foster, Shuri, Nebula, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Gamora, Wanda, and Coulson gets an honorable mention. My buddy Lee, our buddy Lee, co-host of Bloody Kings, the Highlander podcast, he said Sam Falcon. He's not rich and he's not under orders or super powered. When we meet him, he just joins Cap, loves helping vets. Give a shout out to Luke Cage. He was able to take almost every stereotype of black film and pay tribute to it and destroy the preconceptions while also giving us a fantastic character. That's great. Peter Quill, he put in also, I love this one too. He says the Master. He has his own orgy ship and he melts people. # best life.
The game, it should be Games Master, but I know what he's talking about. Who he's talking about.
Yeah, the Master, same thing. Yeah. Kingpin, because he's a villain who's intelligent and strong. He's harder to defeat for the hero than most of the one-shot villains. Punisher, driven by tragedy and shaped by training into the perfect weapon. He liked a little shout out here to Luke Cage. Cottonmouth, the absolute best villain in the MCU. He was really good in that. Yeah.
Can I stop you just for a sec? I love all these shout outs to the Netflix.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of Netflix stuff.
Which Kevin Feige, pay attention. A lot of people love those. find a way to reincorporate these back into the MCU.
Forgive me, I can't place this person's face by the name. He said Fitzsimmons.
Oh, it's from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's actually two characters, Fitz and Simmons. And everybody just calls them Fitzsimmons together. So
gotcha. Okay, cool. Cap, the world needs more Nazi punchers. And he says Thor, long-haired Norwegians with a god complex that hit things really hard, sometimes with hammers to solve their problems, also what the world needs right now. And our friend from Skywalking Through Neverland, Sarah Woloski, she says, wow, we get a lot of choices. Here we go. Captain Marvel. She quickly captured my heart, and now I've read some of her comic series as well. I love her humor and badassness. Most powerful superhero. I believe it, and I want to see it. Number 2 and 3, I like this. She says, Peggy Carter and Captain America. I take these two together because a major part of their appeal for me is their love story. I adore the fact that they tied this storyline up in Endgame. Great point. Love it. Number 4, she said, Peter Quill. What can I say? I'm drawn to a scoundrel with the heart of gold. He may as well have signposts saying, I'm Han Solo. 5, Thor, hot. Love it. Loki, I love to hate him. He is deliciously mean. Favorite scene at the Opera House is the first Avengers film with the lovely piano concerto playing while he gleefully rips out an eyeball and chews up the scenery. It's a great scene.
Come on, you can never go wrong with reindeer games.
Yes, this is true, reindeer games. Number 7, Wanda, Scarlet Witch. Her power is as yet untapped, and I hope we get to see some amazing as she said, in WandaVision. She may leapfrog to number 4 and 6 by March. I like that. And number 8, Ant-Man. I love an everyman quality, and the fact that when he met Captain America, he touched his pecs and basically did what I would want to do when I met Captain America. He's a very relatable guy. I totally forgot about that. That was funny. Dave Fielding, our buddy there in the UK, says Doctor Strange, great portrayal, probably only character that would make my comic top 8. Luke Cage. He also said Phil Coulson was a great supporting actor in the movies and really came to life in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. Nick Fury. Yondu, gutted he won't be around for 3. I mean, he's Mary Poppins, y'all. As an aside, Michael Booker is in top 3 panels I have ever attended at a con. He is entertaining, yes. Hawkeye, my Avengers cosplay. Hopefully we'll see. Tony Stark, Iron Man. He'd love how Robert Downey Jr. plays Stark. And finally, yes, I know it's 9, but Stan Lee, enough said.
Some good picks out there. Hopefully you weren't getting too blasted by the meowing outside my door.
No, that's all right. I don't hear it.
Okay.
I got more. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got more. We're not done yet. Kenny said Cap, Spider-Man, Black Widow, Agent Coulson before he died, Doctor Strange, Nick Fury, Thor, and Vision. Dan Lee said right here with you, Joseph, Deadpool. Thanks, Kevin. Kevin Feige. Tony Stark, Peter Quill, Loki, Thor, Spider-Man, Captain America, and Bucky Barnes. Our buddy Brad said Thanos, Iron Man, Thor, Star-Lord, Rocket, Yondu, Captain America, Happy, Doctor Strange, and Hulk. Norman Lau said Cap is number 1 for me. Everyone else is interchangeable. Let's see here. Just a few more here. Steve Ball says, I think Robert Downey Jr. is irreplaceable as Tony Stark. Hemsworth was brilliant. Cumberbatch was perfect. Black Panther was absolutely pitch perfect. And Chadwick will be incredibly hard to replace. Johansson as Black Widow. Captain, of course, played by Chris. Loki. But my final choice would have to be Thanos just because Josh Brolin was absolutely superb. Got 2 more here for you. Davis Grayson said Doctor Strange, Agent Coulson, Wong, Cap, Falcon, Ant-Man, Luke Cage, and Howard the Duck. And last and certainly not least, my lovely fiance, Erin Gill. Her top 8 are Thor, Captain America, followed by Thor, and Loki.
Yeah, but what she's forgetting to say is she's like Homer Simpson. She would kill for Fat Thor.
Just so you know, Thor is revered down there because Hemsworth is Aussie, and Thor is like their Captain America down there. So,
Yep.
I want to thank everyone for their awesome comments. That was a lot of. Thank you so much for participating. But we got our own here, Kyle.
Yeah, so let's hit up some honorable mentions first, Mr. Reitzel.
Yes.
I want to kick things off. One of my honorable mentions is Sam Wilson the Falcon. I think he is actually one of the more important characters in the MCU because I think without him kind of helping to humanize Cap in the modern world a little bit in Winter Soldier, I think
he humbles him
a
little bit too.
Yeah, humbles him a little bit. The whole thing in the beginning of the film when he's talking about coming down to the VA and they're talking about what's wrong with the bed, with your bed, and things like that, and just his aspect of things, how his relationship with the Winter Soldier, his relationship with Ant-Man, and just he fits so well within that, and he adds an element because this is basically just a normal guy in a suit.
Yeah, definitely, and his integrity level is just beyond high. It's great. And I think my favorite line, or one of my favorite lines from him, is I do what he does, only slower.
Yeah. What about you, Kevin? What's an honorable mention you've got?
I absolutely love the big stone giant Korg. I love him. We got introduced to him in Thor Ragnarok, and we got to see him in Avengers Endgame. He's absolutely funny. I love the voice by Taika Waititi that he does for him. I love the whole Xbox scene or whatever game they were playing, and Thor threatens the other person online, and just I love him. I think he's great. He's I think he's a good buddy to have for Thor.
Yeah. Well, up next for me, and this will be interesting to see what people. Peter Parker, Spider-Man. I think he's going to move up to maybe the main list after the next phase of the MCU, but I think he was still a little too sidekicky to Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
In this go around, and I love Tom Holland. I can't wait to see him be able to mature up Peter Parker a little bit more and really expand the character out even more and kind of get out from Robert Downey Jr.'s shadow in the next Spider-Man film.
Tom Holland. The most important part of Spider-Man is definitely nailing the part of Peter Parker, and he's done that tenfold, and he's fantastic. Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Happy Hogan. As we mentioned him earlier, there's a couple pics for some people, and I just love him. I love how he got to expand his character in the Spider-Man films, and having a little thing for Aunt May, and then it becoming mutual, and just seeing him in the Iron Man films and learning that he loves Downton Abbey. He's just great. I love him.
Wait, Kevin, what red-blooded American male doesn't have a thing for Aunt May in the MCU?
Unusually hot Aunt May, yes.
May, yeah. Marissa Tomei, hello. One for me, Kevin, Okoye from Black Panther.
Yes.
Played by the wonderful Denai Garati. And I know I just butchered that, forgive me, but she is absolutely incredible in that film. All the women in that film are outstanding, but there's something about her and her presence, especially when you see her again in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. And I love the line.
Denai, God, I can't remember how you say your name, but yeah, that's tough.
I love her line in Infinity War when we opened up Wakanda. Was this what you were expecting? No, I was expecting something more like maybe the Olympics or Starbucks.
Yeah. Yeah, she's great. She kicks butt too. I love the scene too in Black Panther where she's so happy to whip off that wig in that casino scene or whatever it was and just take care of business. I love it. All right, what have I got next? I've got. I don't want to pick one of yours on your main list here. I'm gonna go with Rocket. Love me some Rocket. He is so funny. But the best part about Rocket is we've seen his character develop. Become not necessarily more human, but not as coarse and kind of jerky. And the whole thing in one of my favorite scenes is with him in Guardians 2, escaping from the ship and then helping out with Quill and the music and also too when he's with Thor in Endgame, and going back and forth, talking about the stuff that they've been through. Just great character development there, and Bradley Cooper's voice is great.
Yeah. One thing about Rocket, because he also was on my honorable mention too, is the fact that you forget it's Bradley Cooper voicing Rocket.
Yeah.
And that just means it's a masterful performance there. But
I got a few more. I just want to throw out real quick.
Run them out.
I want to put in I put in Doctor Strange and Wong because I love them together. I want to see more of them, and I'm looking forward to seeing Doctor Strange too. I think they pair well together. Yondu, love me some Yondu. I also put Luis.
Yeah.
I love Luis. I put Coulson as well, and of course, definitely Stanley.
Coulson's got to be on. Coulson's got to be on pretty much any list.
Yeah.
I saw him on yours, and my only issue with Coulson is they really, I think, did the character wrong by the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so, but Coulson is still one of my greatest MCU movie memories in the theater, because when he gets stabbed in Avengers, and this one person just screams, "Not Coulson!"
Yeah.
in the middle of the theater, it was just a great moment.
Jennifer said Rocket is getting therapy for his PTSD as a lab raccoon. Yeah. She also said that she thought that the Peter Parker Spider-Man has just been overdone in films. I totally get that. I was not ready for another Spider-Man, but I was pleasantly surprised by Tom Holland. I'm glad they didn't do an origin movie where how he gets bit by the spider. I'm glad they kind of moved past that, because you already seen that done already. And Brian said Captain America is a great moral compass.
Yep, absolutely. So let's get into our Magic 8 Ball list of 8 here, Kevin. Would you like to go first with your first pick, or would you care for me to go first?
No, you can go first this time.
Okay. Coming up for me, I know this person is also on your list, and there's an order to this, but I mean, these are all such important characters. But Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow.
Yeah.
I think she is truly the character for the Avengers that humanizes them. It's not Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I think they really, especially in Infinity War and especially Endgame too, she's your eyes. She's your relatable character.
Also, too, her ability to really kind of get out of sticky situations and use her wits as opposed to a superpower. But I think when you talk about her relating to the Avengers, also having, that was one of my favorite scenes, or one of my favorite moments actually, is Age of Ultron with the little flirting going on with Bruce Banner. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that I think she steals the beginning of the Avengers film, when the first time you see her in the Avengers, and she's like, finds out Barton's been compromised, and that whole scene, and then the first time she goes after the Hulk.
And her wonderful introduction in Iron Man 2 with that long red hair, and the whole boxing match with Happy. Awesome.
Yeah. So I think she is absolutely essential to the MCU, and obviously with her role in Endgame and what she sacrifices.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for the Black Widow film. I think Scarlett's going to be phenomenal in it, and I think it's going to do a great job of.
Hurry up, Disney Plus! Just put it out. Just put it out. Come on.
Yeah. It's going to do a great job, I think, too, of passing the legacy of the Black Widow on, which we'll talk about when that film comes out eventually. But who have you got coming in, Kevin?
I'm gonna go with Scott Lang, Ant-Man. I absolutely love Scott Lang. He is so funny. I love the fact that obviously he's got this daughter too that he loves dearly, and he's got this wonderful group of fellow thieves that help him now, with Luis and the other guys. He's just great. He's also a fan of the Avengers, as mentioned earlier by some of our friends commenting about that, and wow, you're Captain America and blah blah blah, and you're great too. And he's just great. I absolutely adore that character.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, it's impossible to dislike Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd is awesome.
And he doesn't age, and we still don't know what this. So he actually does have a superpower. He's immortal, but
it's funny too, because he's actually a short actor, and so he's perfect too. He doesn't have to be tall, and he's in. I love in the end of Ant-Man where him and Hope, were kissing, and then like they get caught, by Hank Pym, and she's like, I don't know what's going on with her. She just like made the move. Just that chemistry is great.
Yeah. I think the importance of the Ant-Man film is I think it's the lighthearted adventure series of the MCU.
Yeah. But what's also interesting that I love is that thanks to a roving rat in a storage unit and Scott Lang, we were able to put the time heist together and figure out how to defeat Thanos. I love it.
Yeah. Well, next for me, this is a hard one, Kevin, but T'Challa, the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not going to see this character ever again in the MCU. Kevin Feige's confirmed that, and they're going to respect that. But I don't think any character changed and impacted the MCU the way T'Challa did. First with his introduction in Civil War, which was just done so well, but then just Black Panther. He was just the character was so well portrayed by Chadwick Boseman. I don't think anybody would dare pick up those shoes anytime soon. And it's just a tragedy we're not going to get to have this character, this amazingly portrayed and well written and just amazing character going forward, because he was set up to do huge things in the future.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it's a huge loss, and he will be missed, and he was absolutely perfect. Well said. Yeah. So. By the way, I think our YouTube audience can hear your cats.
Oh, okay.
Brian Kinney's like, more meows. And by the way, Jennifer said, did you see the Lewis/Scott 2020 recap back and forth? I have not seen this.
No, I have not seen this.
I gotta check this out. Is it on YouTube? Let me know.
I think, yeah.
That sounds funny. Okay, so what else we got here? Oh, okay, I got one for you. Bruce Banner, Mark Ruffalo version though, and I got to give a shout out. I love Smart Hulk, but Bruce Banner, I absolutely think this is one of the best additions to the MCU. I like his version as opposed to what we saw in the original Hulk film. And he's just funny. I love it when him and Tony nerd out, and they got this nerd culture between them. And I loved Smart Hulk in Avengers Endgame. I thought it was great.
Well, I'm not such a fan of Smart Hulk. I mean, but I do love Ruffalo's Bruce Banner. I think it's such an incredible improvement over Edward Norton.
Especially in Thor Ragnarok. He was very good in that.
Well, and see, that's what I actually like, that version of the Hulk, the Ragnarok version, where he's not just a rage beast. He's got a little bit of intelligence working, but he's not Professor Hulk per se.
Right.
I love that version there, but I love Ruffalo as Bruce Banner because he's that kind of dorky, like this is probably what we would be if we were in that situation. So, okay, up next for me, Kevin, Peter Quill, Star-Lord.
Yeah, he's on my list. Peter Quill.
Peter Quill is the guy we all would want to be. Come on, let's admit it. We want to be the space pirate who's having fun, going on adventures, hooking up with the alien babes, and not really having a care to the world. And I mean, come on. The end of Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, Guardians, what do we want to do? Something good? Something bad? A little of both. Nobody says anything? A little of both it is!
My favorite line is when when she says your ship's a mess, he's like, you have no idea. You bring a black light in here, it looks like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Yeah, I know.
What I like about him too is, and he would be fun at a party because he has so much 80s pop culture knowledge and 70s stuff,
Yeah. But I think that's the thing. I think he is probably, of like the bigger names of the MCU, he's the most relatable. He's the most like, if you were going to hang out with somebody, it would probably be Peter Quill.
Yeah. And the fact that he's got part God in him, or whatever you want to call it, powerful alien or whatever.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So he was on my list. He was at number 8.
Okay. Who you got next, Kevin?
I'm going to go with one of my crushes. got a crush, big crush, and that is Peggy Carter, aka Agent Carter. Absolutely adore her in the first Captain America movie, and seeing her since. But I've been actually watching the Agent Carter TV series. I finished season 1, watching season 2, which was the final season, and I love her backstory, and I love the time frame that the Agent Carter series takes place in the mid to late 40s, and the second season takes her to Los Angeles, which is great, and she looks great, and she kicks ass. I love it, and she's one of my favorites. So yeah,
Yeah,
I have her
got
at
to
number
meet
3 actually.
got to meet Haley Atwell at a convention. That was
Please tell me she was nice.
Oh, she was absolutely wonderful, and you hear that accent and you just melt.
Ah, very cool.
I'm a huge fan of Peggy Carter. I I'm all for that. She's an absolutely amazing character. Maybe even the heart of the Captain America films that she was, especially the first one. Obviously, just massive ties to the MCU, and of course the amazing moments at the end of Endgame. So, absolutely wonderful. Kevin, up next for me. I think personally my favorite portrayal of the MCU, even though I don't consider him the number one because I think there's somebody much more important, but that's Steve Rogers, Captain America, played by Chris Evans.
Yeah.
I think Chris Evans embodies everything that you would expect from Captain America if you've read any of the comics or anything like that. And the great thing I think about him is that character changes and evolves throughout the MCU. You see him as kind of he keeps his core basic, but he still evolves. He's in World War II, living in that life, then comes to Avengers trying to absorb everything. Then by the time we get to Winter Soldier, he's exploring the world and getting to know the world. Then we have Civil War where he stands up for his beliefs and has a great moment with Spider-Man is, he's the big guy from Queens that and then just to me the man who has the two most powerful moments in the MCU, both in Avengers Endgame. First when he picks up Mjolnir.
Yep.
And of course Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
Chris Evans Captain America is
that whole 5-10 minutes makes me cry still.
That Chris Evans Captain America is the heart of the MCU.
Yeah, and he looks great doing it, but you see his character evolve. He's the fish out of water when he gets into current day New York, and I love him. With one of the best movies out there, of course, is Winter Soldier, and you see him learning, trying to learn about pop culture and stuff, and how he can rally his teammates, and was it Endgame when he goes, "I'm done asking," or whatever it is, Yeah. He takes it. I think one of the most important moments in all of the MCU when it comes to the hierarchy of who you're going to trust and lead you into battle is that scene in the first Avengers when they're all the Avengers are regrouped there in New York, and they all got their backs to each other, and there's that famous camera shot around them. And when Tony Stark goes, "Your call, Cap, what do we do?"
Yeah.
I love that. No. That kind of set the tone. Cap's the boss, and especially when he starts making the calls when they're all hiding, from everyone from the Winter Soldier movie. Samuel Jackson. He goes, "It's your call, Cap. What are we doing?"
I think one of the other moments too is it's almost there's almost a magical sense when he appears for the first time in Avengers: Infinity War, because it's the first time we've seen him since Civil War.
Yeah, it was like 40 minutes into the film. We finally see him there.
And he's in shadow, Scotland. He's in shadow, but you just know it's him.
It's that music. Dun, dun, dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun, and you can feel the goosebumps on there.
And he's got a beard. He's rocking the beard,
But Kevin, two very important things. First of all, get that man a shield.
Yep.
And on your left.
Also, too, he defined the "I'm an Avenger in hiding" costume. You just put on a generic black hat and some sunglasses, I guess.
Yeah. And I will say this, the best chemistry with the Black Widow and Winter Soldier, because it was phenomenal.
Yeah, but more importantly though, his scenes with Peggy Carter are just absolutely wonderful, and I want to echo, you know, Sarah Woloski's comments about how important that is to his character development and the love story. It was nice to have a love story, in with a superhero movie, and that he was true to his girl, and I love that.
Yep, absolutely. Kevin, who do you have next on your list?
Oh, we're getting down to a few here. I'm going to go with probably the best villain in movies last 20 years. Is that safe to say, Kyle?
I don't know about the best, but he's in the top 3.
And that's Loki.
And I don't look at... There's times where you can classify Loki as an anti-hero kind of thing, too.
Okay, hold on. If I say the last 20 years and you say top 3, who else you throwing out there? Thanos?
Yeah, Thanos has got to go in there.
Yeah, but Loki's more charismatic. There's a reason why Loki has his own TV series coming. There is a reason. If Tom Hiddleston doesn't nail that character, we don't have his stories of him picking up the Tesseract and the botched time heist and Endgame.
No, I agree that, but I think because of what Thanos was able to accomplish and what he did.
Are you putting Thanos above Loki as in best villain in the last 20 years?
Yeah, because I think there's just more of a true villain nature to Thanos.
Chat, what do you say? Listeners, what do you say? Come on.
Loki has heroic moments still. And Loki was so beloved by the fan base. It's hard to make him a complete villain.
You disagree with me. Anyway, is he on your list? He's on your list too, yeah.
Oh yeah, he is on my list.
Yeah, but I mean his the way he is definitely Tom Hiddleston is just wonderful, and he was actually in line to play Thor. I know that he tried out for it, but I think him doing Loki is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, no, I mean he's so great in this. He's so much fun in Thor Ragnarok, and I can't wait for the Loki Disney Plus series. Everything he's appeared in is he just makes, when he's on screen, things are better.
Yeah,
but just remember, it's not the thunder. It comes with the thunder. So, next for me on my list, Kevin, is Shuri from Black Panther.
Great choice. She was actually on my honorable mention list.
Now, the reason, and I have her quite high. I have her number 2 on my list, and there's a reason for this. 1, she steals Black Panther. She is the character most everybody was talking about when Black Panther was over and done with. Her character is going to be incredibly important going forward, and it was going to be no matter what, but even more so now. And also, I think she is the character that humanizes T'Challa, that keeps him in check, that brings him back to Earth so he doesn't get completely lost in being the king and his responsibilities and everything like that. So, and she's just so much fun. She's the Q of the MCU.
She's one of the most intelligent people when it comes to technology and fixing and analyzing and whatever it is. I mean, I think she might even be better than Tony Stark to a certain degree.
Oh,
I would say.
It wouldn't shock me.
She is. I hope they really do a good job of keeping her within the universe because, forgive me, I can't remember the actress's name that plays her, but she is fantastic.
Letitia Wright.
Oh my God, she is fantastic, and I want to see more of Shuri because she is crucial to the development of the Wakandan technology and vibranium and everything. And so I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do with her.
Yep. Who do you have next, Kevin?
Well, everything else we have discussed except for one more, which is on your list here.
Well, let's pump the brakes on that. Let me hit the other one that's on my list because I think the one where Mutual is deserving of being the last part of this conversation. So, I also have Thor on the list.
Yep.
I think Chris Hemsworth's portrayal and the evolution of Thor throughout the MCU universe is something quite amazing. I loved him in the original Thor film. I thought he really nailed an essence of Thor in Asgard. I think he was a victim, like a lot of the actors were, of Thor to the Dark World and the problems that movie had in production and everything like that. And then obviously just the change in the character in Ragnarok is absolutely phenomenal. And of course, what he did in Avengers Endgame, just so many amazing things. And I want to talk about we talk about The Ringer here every once in a while when we talk about it to show the rewatchables. They were doing a Terminator 2 rewatchable, but they had a brief conversation about who is the biggest action star closest to Arnold that can just be. You can put him in any role and he seems like he fits. I do think I agree with this. Chris Hemsworth, The Rock might be the biggest name action star, but I think Chris Hemsworth is the best actor action star in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, and the fact that he is funny as heck, it also is very charming when he brings that to the character, because Chris Hemsworth is very funny himself and he can do comedy, which is great. But showing especially in Endgame and the scenes with Rocket and him, losing everything, losing his family, losing most of the Asgardian, people and what, it was king for a day and look what happens. I mean, it's he really sells that pain, and he's gone through a great character development. Thor's great. Plus, I don't know if you know this or not, Kyle, but he's kind of hot.
Fat Thor, yeah.
What?
Fat Thor, yeah. The ladies love the fat Thor, so come on. But I think, Kevin, we can agree, if he's not number one, he's number two, no matter what. I think he's interchangeable with Chris Evans as Captain America, but he is the man who started it all. Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man. You don't have any of this without him. Robert Downey Jr. put the MCU on the map. They took the chance with him. Tony Stark was amazing. It was perfect. It was one of those things when you look back on now, nobody else can play the role.
Funny, witty. I love how he just plays into the character of Tony Stark's ego so well. And he has so many good lines, so many great moments when he makes the ultimate sacrifice. But I love the fact that you get to also see him as a family man with his daughter, Morgan. He's wonderful in that. But I got to tell you, my favorite scenes with him are between him and Pepper. Absolutely love those two together. The back and forths, especially in the first Avengers movie when they're up on the top of the new Stark Tower and Coulson's coming up. I love him, and I love the evolution of those two characters, and he's wonderful.
By the way, I'm not a huge Gwyneth Paltrow fan, but highly hot as Pepper Potts.
Oh yeah, I like her. I considered actually giving her an honorable mention. I like her actually that much, and I absolutely love her in Iron Man 3. I think she's great.
Robert Downey Jr. is just phenomenal, and the thing about it is he does understand the good and bad of the Tony Stark character. From his own trials and tribulations. He can understand the aspects of the flaws in Tony Stark, and he nails it so well. There wasn't a dry eye in the house at the end of Avengers Endgame in all the showings that I went to of it.
Yep.
And I just think, there's no MCU without Robert Downey Jr. I think if anybody else isn't Tony Stark, there's no way it succeeds like it doesn't. And
that was a big gamble, and it worked, and Jon Favreau directed it and killed it. Yeah.
And the fact that Robert Downey Jr. just embraced it, and to this day still embraces it, even though he's kind of done with the MCU, he's very happy that he took that chance, because he's got a very, very large bank account. Thank you, Jon Favreau. Thank you, Kevin Feige. Thank you, the fans. And I think that's just the great thing that I've seen with all of these MCU people, and what makes them so amazing is how much they respect the fans.
Yeah. Agreed.
I've yet to see anybody or hear stories of anybody who's an MCU actor just treating the fans poorly.
It's interesting. I would love to actually revisit this list if the Magic 8 Ball would allow us to in like the next few years after we see some more of the movies and of course these awesome Disney Plus streaming series. It'll be interesting because I was considering putting Wanda and Vision in there as well. It was a tough choice actually, and I just want to give a shout out to the people that commented on my Facebook thread and put their list on there, because that helped a little bit put stuff in perspective for me while I was putting my list together.
Yeah. Just real quick, Kim, and that's a good point that you bring up of going up ahead a few years. Give me one, two characters who you think can be making a jump as we continue on with the MCU.
There was one that really was on, and a couple people mentioned it. I really liked Bucky / Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. I really liked his development, and I'm very curious because I kind of know what I'm going to expect from Falcon, Sam, but it's the Bucky part that I'm really curious about in that series. And that's one I could see moving up, I think. I'm waiting if more with the Wanda Vision series to kind of go from there. But, I know I'm curious about, of course, with Black Widow, but, Natasha's already on my top 8 list anyway. What about you?
For me, I mentioned Tom Holland's Peter Parker. I think he is really kind of being set up to be kind of the Tony Stark for the next wave of the MCU. I think that Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange is going to be a huge part of the MCU, at least in the foreseeable future.
Yes.
I'm with you on Sebastian Stan. This is an actor who I love, and I'm with. If they follow arcs, he's got a very big future for him in the MCU. He's got the biggest deal of any actor in the MCU as far as a number of appearances. So that's going to be very interesting. I think too, the biggest thing going forward for the MCU is the new actors who are going to be coming in, because you have X-Men coming, you have Fantastic Four coming. Yeah. Those are huge properties. I think those could be people who are going to carry a lot of weight going forward. And let's face it, you do have Ryan Reynolds coming.
Yeah,
you have
that's
Deadpool
true.
Coming.
You got Deadpool.
That's going to be a shakeup in the MCU, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So
it's exciting, man. I'm excited. I can't wait, and I'm just so happy that the MCU has been able to do something that has never been done before, and create this wonderful world with great characters. And it's fun seeing all of the actors interviewed together. It's like a big family. And I love it. There's such good chemistry, not only in front of the screen, but behind the screen as well, or camera, I mean.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, this leads us back to, before we close out of here, check out our new podcast, True Believers, an MCU podcast. Right now, yes, our focus is on WandaVision, but we're going to talk about Falcon Winter Soldier when it comes out, Loki when it comes out. And when there's not things going on, we are going to do some dive backs into the history of the MCU, and we might even go outside the realm of the MCU and take a look at some of the films that were pre-MCU and how they might have impacted things happening in the MCU as well.
You keep teasing that. You really want to touch on that. I got you. Yeah. Okay.
I think there's some very important things that happen that lead us to why we have the MCU. So
I want to thank everyone in the chat, by the way. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Jennifer. And she says, by the way, I know this is blasphemy, but what I enjoyed about the early phases of the MCU was the time between the movies. Looking at what is happening in the next phase, it looks like 4 movies a year, giving us time to wait and want more. That's a good point. And that COVID has definitely done that. And she's worried about oversaturation, which is a great point. But hopefully we won't see that type of thing, because hopefully each movie and series will have its own flavor and make it unique to it.
And I think the interesting thing is, even though we're going to get a lot more Phase 4 films, this is going to be all these films are going to be different than what we're used to from the MCU. There's not. Yeah. We have when you look at it, we have a Doctor Strange movie. We have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The only character who has
Eternals, right? That too.
Yeah, you have the Eternals. The only 2 characters that we've already pre-established that have films are Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and those 2 films are going to tie in together.
And Black Widow.
And Black Widow, but is Black Widow kind of the end and the start of something? We don't. Right. There's questions we have about Black Widow, because Black Widow actually takes place right after Winter Soldier. So
a
lot of questions to have. But thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for everybody for watching on YouTube. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Might revisit a segment or two still to come. We've got some ideas floating around. I know that, Mr. Reitzel.
Yes, this is true. And Jennifer, go see Endgame. That movie's awesome. It is so much fun.
Yeah, don't be trying to fire us over Warehouse 13 if you haven't seen Endgame. Sorry, doesn't work that
Endgame
way.
was so good. Oh, loved it.
With that, Avengers. Thank you, everybody on the chat and YouTube.